The real rivalry. Ahmad, welcome back to the Southampton Manchester United match review. Man, after the 5-1 thumping of Leeds last week, I was so optimistic, and this was just the last thing I was expecting. Such a disappointing game, such a disappointing performance. 2 points dropped, and it all started with our lineup. When you pick Matic and Fred in midfield, I mean, that just set the pace for a slow defensive midfield, and like just a bad lineup to pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I thought so as well because I thought this was going to be the year when Van der Beek kind of broke through, and like those away games. I mean, as looking at it from the outside, I mean, I thought this was going to be the year when United really made like a title push. You spent that money, you got those two signings where like everyone said you were lacking. You got Sancho, you got that world class centre back in Varane, and I mean, second game of the season, obviously you just smash Leeds in your first game. You're obviously looking to kick on. I mean, you have like a relatively good start to the season. I mean, the last thing you want to do is be dropping points early on in the
Points,
season
yeah.
when you know how tough it's going to be this year. And I mean, it just looked like United were already like out of ideas just in like the second game, and like it just looked like, I mean, typical. I mean, I don't know, man. Looking at it on the outside, Ollie obviously has done a good job, but I don't know if he can take that next step. And I mean, how much more does he need to spend? How many more players does he need?
I personally completely agree with you there. So let's just start by mentioning some of them. This was very typical of a United performance that you've seen in the last year or two as well, where we turn up to a game, and we just don't, like, our players just aren't focused from the start. Fred, like, passing the ball out of play, misplaced multiple passes. Van Bissaka misplacing passes. Bruno wasn't at it. Like, so I would say at least for Martial was poor. I don't know why he started at number nine when Greenwood had an excellent game at number nine the week before. So just four or five, Maguire was poor. Four or five players just did not turn up and are dropping like fours or fives out of tens. You'd see United do this sometimes last year as well, but Cavani would come in, score the winner, and we'd like turn it around. We went down so many times last year, but no fans were in the ground last year. So it was easy in away games to still turn it around. Well, you start poorly this year in away matches, there are fans in the ground. The home crowd is going to push the home team forward, and that's kind of what happened. We went down 1-0, and we just weren't able to come back and score two goals like we would have last year. So disappointing to see the performance of the players. And then now the question about Ollie, right? I personally agree with you. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he's good enough as a manager, especially his tactics to get United to a title to win a title. Over a 38 game period, he's going to make mistakes with the team selection that he makes, his in-game management, such that we'll end up dropping points. So yesterday, so against Southampton, he got the team selection wrong. Fred and Matic was the wrong midfield to pick. You had to put Van de Beek alongside Matic if McTominay was out because he had a slight niggle. It was a perfect game for Van de Beek. We needed someone with creativity in the double pivot, someone who plays one touch passes, who can receive the ball on the half turn, lay it off, move forward, take the game forward. Matic and Fred are way too defensive. They're not going to give you any attacking flair whatsoever. Their passing isn't good enough, and that's
Yeah, I mean,
what
you're
set the
doing it.
tone.
He's playing them to essentially because he doesn't want to lose the game. I mean, you want to start with that base, and you don't want to lose the game, which is, I mean, you have to be more adventurous. I mean, when you're going, I mean, I saw
But
Southampton starting 11 that game, and I saw United starting 11. I thought that, I mean, I haven't seen a Southampton 11 that's been that bad in
in
years, probably
years,
since they came up to the league, like back in what was it, like 2011 or something. It
right?
was absolutely shocking, man. I mean, the fact that, like, I mean, they didn't have any of that. Like, their defenders, all of them were like, I think,
They either
kids out of the
sold or
academy,
injured. Yeah.
new signings I'd never heard of. So, I mean, the fact that United didn't go out there and kind of make a statement and didn't really like enforce that game from the start. I mean, I thought that you guys would really like be up for it and like like make a statement. Like take an early lead and then try and like add to it. But the thing is, I mean, with Oli, like, I mean, you're saying that like with Arteta, obviously, you can see that I mean, it's very hard to argue for Arteta and say that like he deserves to kind of still be in a job. With Oli, I mean, United fans are torn because you clearly have seen that he's taken you out of that slump that you were in under like maybe under Van Gaal and Jose
Mourinho,
when he
yeah.
kind of left. At least he's gotten you back and like to playing good football, and you're like in the mix. You're in the top four. You're back in the Champions League consistently.
Right.
You're kind of pushing for the title. I mean, you're not quite there yet, but you are kind of in the title picture. So I mean, the interesting thing is, like, I mean, that's where Arsenal want to be right now. We want to be back to where United are currently. And Arteta could be the guy who takes us back there in a few years, maybe. But I still don't think that he's going to be the guy who can actually win us that title. There's a big difference between actually closing that gap and bringing you back into the top four and competing for titles and actually winning the title.
Winning the
I
title,
mean,
exactly.
just look at Brendan Rodgers for Liverpool. I mean, he almost did it for Liverpool, almost being the key word. He wasn't able to just go that final distance, but Klopp has come in and done
Right.
it,
Right.
and he's done
Right.
it over 2 seasons. You need that world class manager to like take you over the line. And Ollie just, I don't know if he
Doesn't
strikes me as that
seem
guy,
right.
especially when you're competing with the likes of Pep and Klopp.
Like, is he ruthless enough? That's the question, right? Is he actually ruthless enough? Like, I've never seen him. He barely ever will make a halftime change. Fred
And the other
dropped.
question is he as good as the competition? Is he as good as
He's
Pep and Klopp? No, he isn't. And if
There's
you want
no
to win that
evidence to
league, you
suggest
need to
that.
get someone who's. I mean, you not only need to have a team on par with those two, you need to have managers on par with those two as well.
Right.
So, I mean, the only other big names I see out there, are like the Contes, the Allegris, who can actually come in and challenge these guys.
Right, 100%,
So,
100%. I agree with you, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but I don't see us winning anything. People keep saying, I know we desperately need a defensive midfielder. The reason we play McTominay and Fred, or Matic and Fred, or whatever in that double pivot is because we don't have one specialist who can do that role. But in my opinion, that's the only position that we're missing now. Everything else, you've got quality all over the pitch, and that should be more than enough to beat Southampton away. And you look at his decisions, he's not ruthless enough. After the performance Fred had in the first half, he at least misplaced 4 or 5 passes. They weren't even to the opposition team. He passed it out of the pitch. You had to replace him at halftime. Why is he on the pitch till the 75th minute? Is beyond me.
yeah, it's shocking. I mean, he
Last
acts way too
season,
late with the substitutions.
and we've seen multiple examples of this last year, Villarreal final. Like once he sets out a team, he cannot make any changes in game. Emery had gone and made 5 or 6 changes. Oli had made none at that time. I remember even the keeper,
Yeah, it's
right?
almost like he's too arrogant to
He's
admit that he made a
not even
mistake in the
arrogant. He
first
just
place.
doesn't want to hurt players. Like he doesn't want, even if you're playing badly, you'll continue playing. I think he's just not ruthless enough. Like for instance, for the penalty shootout, everyone knows David Gea is a good keeper, but he does not save any penalties ever. You should
Yeah, he
look at
hasn't
his
saved
record.
one in
One of the
years. Yeah.
worst. Yeah, he hasn't saved one in like 5 years. Any ruthless manager would have put Dean Anderson on for the penalty shootout and removed David De Gea. It was just common sense. He would have done it, but Ollie would not do it. He just doesn't want to upset the
I
team
mean,
and
I wouldn't
upset the
say any
players.
manager because Arteta
Most
probably wouldn't do
good,
it either.
I think most good managers would do it. Man, Tuchel would do it. Pep wouldn't think twice. Klopp wouldn't think twice. That's where I think Ollie lacks the ruthlessness that you need to deliver titles. And like, why wasn't Sancho starting, man? Someone explain that to me. I don't get it. Varane, maybe I understand a little bit because he's only had a week of training, but Sancho should have started that game. Even when he came on, he looked bright. I don't understand why Sancho's on the bench. Like, why did you spend so
Yeah,
much
it's just
money
like
on
he wants to kind of gradually ease him in and not upset the equilibrium too much. And
him?
yeah, I mean,
Right.
when you spend 80 million pounds on a fucking player, you bring him into the
You
starting
bring him
11
into the
immediately.
starting 11. Right, exactly. So, I mean, for me, like this game just showed me that, I don't want to be too negative, but nothing has really changed. We can buy whoever we want, but like, I just
I
don't
mean,
think,
you still need a world class central midfielder, and that could obviously change a lot. I mean,
right,
why? I mean, you probably haven't.
definitely, definitely. But I still think that, like, the manager's tactics are going to be found out in certain games and we'll drop too many points. I think as good as Chelsea and Man City are this year, even Liverpool probably, you need 90 plus points to win the title, I think, or to even challenge. You need 90 plus points. Under Ollie, I don't see us getting 90 plus points. I think we're gonna drop
Hmm.
similar points again. I hope I'm wrong. Let's see what happens. Wolves away, but I just don't trust this team. The players have let me down enough times, and so has Ollie. And I hope, people may think my criticism is over the top, but I mean, I'm not judging it just based on this season. I've seen similar performances last year. I saw similar performances 2 years ago. And what has changed? We still look vulnerable even defending set pieces. That's another concern. Like, Why aren't we fixing the things that should have been the problems last year? Defending set pieces, playing against a low block, trying to being able to break down a low block. We still don't seem to have any tactical plan when teams set up, defensively against us, like have a low block. We don't seem to be able to break them down. And nothing's coming from the coaching staff. It's clear to me. The only improvement I saw was we were looking really dangerous from our attacking set pieces, and I think that's probably because of the new set piece coach we've brought in. So we may score more goals from attacking set pieces this year. That would benefit against these teams that are going to sit back. But I'm worried, man. I don't know. I was very excited. I thought we could challenge for the title, but now I think like I don't know how long we're going to be able to realistically keep up with Chelsea and City. We really need to step it up from next week.
Yeah, I mean Liverpool too. I mean
And Liverpool, yeah,
it's
and Liverpool. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But anyways, so those are kind of my thoughts on this week's game.
yeah, United aren't winning the title, that's for sure.
I doubt it, man. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're wrong. But yeah, it doesn't look like it. We need a miracle. We need a miracle to win
Yeah,
the title.
I mean you guys are as likely to win the title as we are to finish in the top six. I'll put it that way.
Top six, yeah. If you're gonna say top four, I'd say no. We're more likely to win the
No,
title
not
than.
top four. Top, yeah, that you guys are probably more likely to win the title than we are to finish in the top four. I mean,
Right,
we're
right.
more
That
likely to get relegated than we are to finish in the top four. So
I think that's a fair statement too. Yeah, but I'd agree with that. I think we're as likely to win the title as you are to finish in the top six. That's a fair statement. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back next week with our match reviews again. See you, Bob.
see you.